this tutorial I'm going to look at doing a sheet metal box that's higher at the back than it is at the front, and I want to look at comparing the techniques that we need to use to create the sort of corners in both ordered and synchronous. So I'm going to start in ordered, and I'm just going to create a tab on the top plane, and I'm going to use a rectangle by center, and it's going to be 1000 by 700, and I can close that sketch. And I want to make this 3 mil, so enter the value in here and give a direction. So for the main body of the box, I'm going to use a contour flange, and I'm going to start by drawing on this edge, and I need to use the line command, start from that point that I selected, and type in the sizes that I'm after. I want this to be a 45 degree, and I'm just going to drop out of there. I'm just going to use Smart Dimension to lock that angle. So if I hit the A key, I can put in that value there. I can also use a distance between to go from that line to that point and define the distance I want, which will be 25 mil. And then I'll go back to my line command to finish off the profile I'm after. So I'm going to go 120, stick with the 45, and then go 150 in here. So that defines my profile. I could add the dimensions for all of it if I wanted to. So with a contour flange, we can either go partway along an edge to the end of the edge, or we can do a profile here, and that gives me the whole thing. I just want to go into my options here, and I would add just a slight gap in the corner of 1 mil, which just opens this up a fraction. So from here, I need to add the extra material on the side. So if I come here, I can start drawing from the end of this edge here. I want this to be 20, so just hit tab, get round to the other edge, and I can just drop that in and come back down to that point. So close the sketch, and because it's an open profile, I have to say which side material is going to be added. Obviously, it needs to go on that side. So I can right mouse click to finish, and then start on the other side as well. Rather than drawing the same thing, because it's the same profile, I can use my projector sketch command and pick up on these, and those are now linked. And again, I need to add a direction on there. I'm just going to rotate this around and work on the last tab. I need to start from the end here. I can zoom in here, or I can just draw off a little bit just to save me having to zoom in. And then I can come back here and use my horizontal vertical on here. And because it's locked down the bottom, that gives me my profile. And once again, we need to specify a direction, and that closes up that. So now I want to add in a angled piece, sort of 3 flange scenario coming down in off the edge here. And because I'm going to put it on all 4 sides, I want to sort of create some sort of mitering. I also want to make this a outside or bend outside option. That's just going to change size slightly. And as I said, I need to sort of do some manual mitering here. So I can click on the corner angles and that just miters those in. Quite do that one properly, and that gives me my profile. So then I want to come back to material inside, come off this edge here, and I want to make this 30 mil. And then I'm going to come back to material inside and bring that back out another 15 mil. And like with that first of the three flanges, I want to sort of bring this back out again. So I can just type in 135 on the angle, and that creates me a flange in there. So now that I've got those three, it's going to be the same on the other side. So I'll just control click on those, and I can just mirror it about that center plane because it's all symmetrical. And that creates the other side nice and quickly. So then we can go back to our flange command and do the front edge. So this one here is going to be again 40 mil, and this needs to be 110 to keep it on line with the others. I want to go material outside again, and as you can see that's overlapping, but we just need to do what we did before and bring this value back in. If I didn't want to do the mitering, I could have done distance from the center and just brought it out to meet the other one. So there are a couple of options there, but that creates that flange there. So we need to go back to material outside and pick up on the flange here. Make sure that I bring that back to 90, and wants to be 30 mil up. Right, mouse click finish, and then we have our 15 mil tab coming back in here, or flange, sorry, tab. And like with the other one, we can put in a different angle on the edge to sort of close that back out to give this a reasonable finish on there. So like the front edge, we can do the back edge the same way. We want to bring this in 40 mil, and what's be 80 to bring that back in line with the rest of it. And as with the front, we need to manually miter these edges, and like the other one, this must be a material outside or blended material outside to keep it in line with the others. So back to material inside, 30 mil. Just go back and edit those. That one obviously needs to be 90. So we'll just edit that back through and enter the last flange. $15 mil. 135 and 135. and that just needs to leave the flat pattern. So tools, flatten, come off that bottom face and front edge, and that creates my flat pattern for me. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing in Synchronous this time. So the process is very similar, certainly at the start. I need to lock the plane to draw on and put in my sizes, same as before. And then click on the region, 3mm thick. So again, I'm going to do a contour flange, but we need to create it as a sketch first. So this time I need to pick on this face and lock. Control H takes me through to the sketch plane, and then I can start drawing as we did before. So 150, 45, add in our dimension, and have the same small distance between dimension here, so we will make that 25. We go back to our line command, 120, 45, 150, and I can unlock the plane. So from here, we can do the same thing, go to contour flange, choose our sketch. So without the sketch here, the command is not active. So we can just hit the arrow key, and then we just go through and click the edges that we want to include. And again, we'll add in a 1mm gap. And then right now, select to accept it. So like we did before, we need to do a tab. I can do that by selecting the plane here, lock it, F3, Control H, takes me down to the sketch plane. So I can come down to this point here, put in my angle by using the tab key to move to the angle command. And close that off. As you'd expect in Synchronous, that creates a region for us, and because it's sheet metal, I don't need to specify a thickness. So rather than redraw it, I'm going to go back to my use sketches and click on there and restore that, which as you'd imagine is on the wrong plane. So all I need to do is click on the sketch and use my steering wheel, and I can pick up off a point on here somewhere. There should be a just turning off the design intent with a U command or U key. Should be a midpoint somewhere along here. I can just drop that on there, and as you can see, it's created the region. And just finish that off. So like we did before, I'm going to coming on here, and F3, Control H. And then I'll just use my horizontal vertical and bring those up square. So again, unlock the plane, click on the region and direction, and that closes that off. So we have this very same thing that we had at this stage last time. Reasonably similar commands. Rather than actually hitting the tab key, I just created the sketches. So that's pretty straightforward from that point there. So now I want to look at creating flanges, and to create a flange in Synchronous, you just click on the edge and click on the arrow. I want to go and use material outside, and I want to specify distance of 40 mil, and we need to angle these faces here as well, and as you can see we've sort of got that coming in on there. So if I click on this face here, I can then use the steering wheel to drop it down to that point there. Actually, I'll put it on the outside edge, click on the torus, and I can use a 45-degree angle. So I've just got design intent off at the moment, and then we'll need to do the same on the other side. So just click on this face here, grab the center point of the steering wheel, drop it on the edge, and we can create that 45-degree miter on the end there. So from here, we can then just create a flange coming up off of there. So just click on the edge, put in a 30 mil, and have it in. So we're going to have a little bit of problem with this overlap. So what I'm going to do is just drop this face back, so about 1.6, just a little bit over the material thickness, or sorry, half the material thickness. Again, I want to hit the H key because I don't want the thickness chain. So that just allows me to go in and specify my distance on that face there. Just gives me a little bit of a notch. And I'll need to do the same on the other end. So click on here and just drag that in. So about 1.6. And that creates me a nice corner. So finally I want to create a flange off this top edge, and this one I want to bring in say 15 to finish that off. From here I can do a mirror, so just flip top to bottom and use the mirror command, which is up here, and I just want to come down off this face here, and that will create the opposite hand, as you can see. So creating the front edge, now this is where it gets a little bit more tricky, because with the flange command we don't have the option of sort of mitering it before we do anything else. So I'm going to need to use the partial flange, and we can put in a 40 mil, and the angle here needs to be 110 to bring that in line with where we want it to be. So as we did before, let's take this edge here, and if I grab this steering wheel, just want to drop it on that point there, and then rotate this out by 45, and I'm also going to move that down onto this point here. I'll grab hold of that and reselect this. What I'm looking for is just to grab the end of that edge there, and what I'm planning on doing is just pulling this back to snap off this point at the end here. To give me that, and then I can just click on here. I'll need to do the other end. So if I pick up off this face here, grab the center of the torus, rotate it back in 45 degrees, just to re-center that steering wheel. I want to just come in here and grab hold of that corner there, so you can see how it realigns, and then I can just grab that directional arrow there, and as I did at the other end, I can come and just pick up off that corner to give me what I need. So from here, it's a matter of picking up off this to create a flange. This time hopefully it should just be a 90 degree, and I want to bring that in 30 mil. And then like I did on the other one, I just want to pick up off this edge and just drag that in 1.6. And do the same on the other end. So I've still got my thickness chain and design intent turned off. And then finish off this front edge. Female, and then it creates that corner for me, like so. Then if I want to, I can do the back one the same as I did the front, really, but I can also create a command here, lock to the plane, and if I want to sort of close off this corner here, I can just create a 45 from that edge and close it in, doing the same on the other side as well. And that creates the closed corner. I could sort of bring that in a bit further if I wanted to, but you get the idea. So we'd do that on all the other flanges, and obviously the final stage is to create my flat pattern. And again, we'll come off this bottom edge to finish that off. So that's the same sort of process, some slightly different techniques required for synchronous as opposed to ordered, but yeah, you can see that we can sort of get to the end result in either way.